Welcome to today's episode. We're going to spend some time, quite a lot of time in fact, unpacking a question that sits at the heart of Middle Eastern geopolitics and American foreign policy. Is Israel losing its clout with the United States? For decades, Israel has been the cornerstone of Washington's Middle East strategy. Its military strength, its intelligence capabilities, and its democratic identity made it a natural partner for America. But geopolitics is never static. Power ebbs and flows, alliances shift, and the United States increasingly finds itself balancing Israel's interests against a widening constellation of regional actors. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey are all rising in prominence, each bringing unique leverage to the table. And the question we must ask is whether Israel's once unrivaled position is being diluted in this new multipolar Middle East. Let's begin with history. The US-Israel relationship was not inevitable. In the early years after Israel's founding in 1948, Washington's support was cautious, tempered by Cold War calculations and Arab oil politics. It was only after the Six-Day War in 1967 and the Yom Kippur War in 1973 that the US fully embraced Israel as a strategic ally. From then on, Israel became the recipient of billions in military aid, advanced weapon systems, and diplomatic backing at the United Nations. The relationship was cemented not only by shared strategic interests, but also by cultural and political affinities. Israel was seen as a democratic outpost in a region dominated by monarchies, military regimes, and authoritarian states. For American policymakers, supporting Israel was both a strategic and moral imperative. But fast forward to the present and the landscape looks different. The Middle East is no longer defined by a binary Cold War logic. Instead, it is a complex web of economic interdependence, energy politics, and shifting alliances. The United States, facing global competition from China and Russia, is recalibrating its priorities. And in this recalibration, Israel's role, while still important, is no longer singular. Consider Saudi Arabia. With over $1 trillion invested in the US economy, Riyadh is not merely a petrostate. It is a financial stakeholder in America's prosperity. That economic entanglement creates leverage. When Washington entertains the sale of F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, it signals a recalibration. Advanced military technology once reserved for Israel may now be shared with others, diluting Israel's unique strategic advantage. The US-Saudi relationship is not without tension. Human rights concerns, the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and disagreements over oil production have strained ties. Yet, the sheer scale of Saudi economic influence ensures that Washington cannot ignore Riyadh. In a world where capital flows shape policy as much as ideology, Saudi Arabia's $1 trillion footprint in the US economy is a game changer. Qatar too has emerged as a subtle but indispensable partner. Hosting the largest US military base in the region, Doha couples hard power with soft diplomacy, positioning itself as a mediator in conflicts from Afghanistan to Gaza. Its economic alliances with Washington reinforce the idea that influence is no longer monopolized by a single ally. Qatar's role as a broker, whether in negotiating hostage releases, mediating ceasefires, or facilitating dialogue between adversaries, makes it a valuable partner. For US policymakers, Qatar is not just a small Gulf state, it is a diplomatic hub that amplifies American influence in the region. And then there is Turkey. Despite its frictions with Washington, Ankara's geographic position, straddling Europe, the Middle East, and the Black Sea, makes it a regional powerhouse. Its assertive foreign policy, growing defense industry, and ability to play both sides between NATO and Russia force US policymakers to treat Turkey as a strategic necessity, not a peripheral player. Turkey's ambitions are not limited to its immediate neighborhood. It seeks influence in Africa, Central Asia, and beyond. For Washington, managing Turkey is a delicate balancing act. Too much pressure risks pushing Ankara closer to Moscow. Too little engagement risks losing a critical NATO ally. Against this backdrop, Israel's role is shifting. It remains vital in intelligence sharing, counterterrorism, and technological innovation. But the exclusivity of its relationship with Washington is eroding. The US is diversifying its portfolio of alliances, hedging against over-reliance on any single partner. In strategic terms, Israel is moving from being the indispensable ally to being one of several important allies. This does not mean Israel is irrelevant, far from it, but it does mean that US foreign policy is entering a multipolar Middle East, where influence is distributed among several actors. For Israel, the challenge is existential: how to remain central in